Keith one-time Thurman versus Jesus Soto Karass this Saturday. An intriguing bout for boxing fans to look forward to, an explosive bout for boxing fans to look forward to. Keith Thurman fights on the same bill as Adrian Broner against Maidana, and to be quite honest with you, both of these opponents, Maidana and Soto Karass, are both guys that come forward and look to put damage on the opponent. Now, both with Keith Thurman and Broner, as I broke down the Broner fight with my wife, they're more scientific. And we're going to concentrate more on Keith Thurman because that's what the breakdown of this fight is. And I see this fight as quite simple. But before I go on to that, I've got to say that Keith Thurman is one of my favourite fighters currently at the moment. Up-and-coming fighters is Keith Thurman. I mean, I love Floyd Mayweather, but Keith Thurman's the guy that I really love in terms of, you know, the one-punch knockout power, the way Keith goes about his business, going out there to try and cause complete terror and knock guys out. And I like the way the guy comes across. He's a real humble guy. And Keith's one who thinks, the thinking fighter. A lot of guys just think Keith Thurman's a fighter, just goes out there, loads up and throws punches and knocks guys out. But I think if he was going to be that sort of a fighter, you would have seen in the fight he fought against Chavez, Diego Chavez, who was a noted puncher, and you know he had one punch knockout power. Thurman had any sort of limitations in adjustment of his style, I think he could have been in serious trouble against Diego Chavez. Now against Karass, who's a come-forward fighter, he's a come-forward fighter, but let's remember, he's not the fastest on his feet, and he hasn't got the fastest of hands, and in terms of defense, hasn't got a great defense. People can point back to the fight he had against Berto, but let's be honest, Andre Berto was trying to fight like Floyd Mayweather, and it doesn't suit his style. I think Berto would have been much more successful had he fought in his typical Berto style rather than fight in his Floyd Mayweather style, his shoulder roll, where I think Berto's taking more punches than necessary. And he's meant to be actually being defensive. He's taking more punches in the process. So for me, he also got stopped Karass. Karass won the fight against Berto, of course, but he got stopped by Maidana. For me, honestly, I just look at this fight as Thurman being too fast, too strong, too powerful, too fresh. But then I would say that because I'm being a Thurman fan. But I just see the fact of, if you've got somebody who's got really good hand speed, with good power and a good boxing brain, I see Karass coming forward and bringing the fight to Keith. And Keith can fight off the back foot and he can fight off the front foot. And he says it himself in interviews, if he thinks that you and the press are saying that Karass could knock him out, he will stand in front of Karass and have a war with Karass. Now, that's exciting for the fans and excites Keith Thurman too. The only problem with that is that in a gunslinging fight, when two people are in a shootout, they don't need to be, there's a possibility that you could get tagged with something you didn't need to. I don't think Karass is going to be able to do that, though. I think Keith's got faster hands and faster feet, and there's a lot more intelligent fighter than a lot of people give him credit for. The only tendency Keith Thurman has got is that he does load up with shots. We saw that in the early part of the Chavez fight, but he even admitted himself he was loading up. He didn't use as much of the jab. He didn't use head movement. But I'm sure Keith is going to want to put a show on to set up that fight in the future with Broner. I mean, I think he wants a super fight after this fight with Karass. As you know, he's fighting the guys he needs to fight so far. People say, is Keith Thurman overrated? I don't think he's overrated. I think he's a good fighter. And I think this Karass fight, it's going to be about not what Karass does, it's about how Keith Thurman finishes this fight. So for me, I see Keith Thurman, Karass walking forward bravely, taking a whole heap of punches, trying to get his own punches off. And Thurman counter-punching, using excellent hand speed, landing big bombs and stopping Karass inside 6 rounds. I don't see this fight going the distance. Might be some exciting moments in between. But like I said, Thurman too fast, too strong, too powerful, stopping Karass inside 6. Let me know what you guys think. I'm honest, I'm telling you I'm a fan, and you know, a bit different when you're watching boxing and you're not really that attached to a fighter, but when when you like a fighter and you watch them box, it's a different situation altogether, a different dynamic. So I wasn't really going to do a prediction for this fight because of how I feel, but I have done nevertheless. So Keith Thurman by KO inside 6. I'm out.